Eerie is a best-selling author. The girls bonded over being very ill as children. The girls bonded over being very ill as children. Her identity was revealed when a movie about the murder was released. Her identity was revealed when a movie about the murder was released. Perry suggests she was given mind-altering drugs for tuberculosis. Perry told the New Zealand Herald that doctors tested experimental drugs on her that are now known to be mood-altering. About the treatments, she said, "A long needle, you're behind every third morning. They'd catch you when you were still asleep." It's true that some treatment facilities used a acid, which caused patients to become animated and happy, and start dancing around. She converted to Mormonism as a means of penance. While working as a nanny in California in the 1960s, Perry was introduced to Mormonism, which offered forgiveness for her past sins. She became heavily invested in the Mormon faith and embraced its tenets. She told the Deseret News, "At first, I gave the missionaries such a hard time, because there were some things I couldn't accept, but now I can't remember what they were. I really can't. The beautiful people I lived next door to said, 'Don't try to work it out in your brain. Surely, if it is true, and you ask your Heavenly Father, He will tell you.' I got down on my knees before I went to bed, and I asked my Father in heaven if it was true or not. And when I woke up in the morning, the room was absolutely filled with light, and I don't mean sunlight." Perry claims she did it because Pauline would have killed herself. Perry says she helped kill Pauline's mom because she was afraid her friend would have taken her own life otherwise. When Juliet was hospitalized, Pauline was the only person who wrote to her, so Juliet felt a sense of obligation to help her friend during her time of need. Perry told The Guardian, "Pauline was the only one who had written to me when I was in the hospital, and she threatened to kill herself if I didn't help. She was vomiting after every meal and losing weight all the time. I am sure now she was bulimic. I really believed she would take her life, and I couldn't face it." Juliet was going to live in South Africa. When Juliet's parents split up, her mom was having an affair and her dad lost his job. They decided to send Juliet to live with a relative in South Africa. Doctors believed the warm air of the colonies would benefit Juliet's health. She had active tuberculosis, and they thought that being away from industrial smog may help her condition improve. Juliet and Pauline refused to part. Pauline tried to accompany Juliet, but her mom, Honora, wouldn't allow it. The two believed that if they killed Honora, Pauline would be able to move to South Africa too. Pauline's diary entries about murdering her mom are eerie. Pauline's diary records her thoughts and fears about being separated from Juliet. The girls began plotting to kill Honora as early as February of 1954. Pauline's entries about her desire to kill her mom are pretty disturbing. Months before she murdered Honora, she wrote, "Why could mother not die? Dozens of people are dying, thousands are dying every day. So why not mother and father too?" By April, Pauline admitted, "I am trying to think up some way." 3 days before the murder, she said, "We practically finished our books today, and our main like for the day was to murder mother." This notion is not a new one, but this time it is a definite plan which we intend to carry out. We have worked it all out, and are both thrilled with the idea. Naturally, we feel a trifle nervous, but the anticipation is great. The night before she killed Honora, Pauline wrote, "I am writing a little of this up before the death. I felt very excited, and the night before Christmassy last night." Both girls live under aliases today. Both Juliet and Pauline went to jail, where they served a little over 5 years and haven't spoken since. A condition of their sentence was that they couldn't contact one another. Juliet was incarcerated in an Auckland women's prison, where she was the only minor, and spent the first 3 months of her sentence in solitary confinement. She reportedly did hard labor until she collapsed. In an interview with The Guardian, she said it was cold, there were rats, canvas sheets, and calico underwear. Pauline assumed the name Hilary Nathan after her release and lives in the county of Kent in England. She became a devout Roman Catholic and is a retired principal of a special needs school as well as a writing instructor. Juliet Hulme is now an award-winning crime author. After serving 5 years in prison, Juliet reinvented herself. She changed her name to AnnePerry and moved to England, where she worked small jobs until 1967. She then relocated to San Francisco, California, and eventually to Los Angeles, where she began her writing career. Eventually, and moved to a remote village in Scotland to be with her mother, where she drew upon her own criminal experience to pen best-selling historical mysteries set in Victorian England. The two teenage girls were completely obsessed with each other. Juliet and Pauline's bond was so intense that many believed they were romantically involved. They rejected their parents' Christian beliefs and together imagined and worshipped their own saints. They believed that they had access to another dimension called the fourth world, which they were able to access because their friendship provided them with the spiritual enlightenment to do so. A movie based on the crime called Heavenly Creatures suggests that the bond between Juliet and Pauline was romantic in nature, but Perry denies it. Their very close relationship was cause for concern among the pair's parents, as being gay was considered a mental illness in 1950s New Zealand. Pauline came from a low-income background with relatively uneducated parents, while British-born Juliet came from a middle-class family. Both were avid escapists obsessed with movie stars. They even created alternate personalities named Gina and Deborah. The girls laughed after they washed the blood from their faces. The murder, Juliet and Pauline ran back to the tea kiosk in Victoria Park where they dined with Honora only moments earlier. They announced to the owner of the stand, Agnes Ritchie, that Pauline's mother was covered in blood. The pair told Ritchie that Honora tripped on a plank and that her head kept banging and bumping as she fell. Ritchie says she heard the girls laughing as they washed the blood from their faces. Doctors found 45 wounds on Honora's body, which were concentrated around her head and neck. The female officer who escorted the pair to court overheard Juliet say the old girl took a bit more killing than we thought. The officer asked her to repeat what she said, and Juliet shot back, "Oh, aren't we the perfect little policewoman?" They distracted Pauline's mom, then hit her over the head with a brick. Pauline and Juliet plotted to murder Honora Rieper, Pauline's mother, when she wouldn't allow Pauline to move to South Africa with Juliet. On June 22, 1945, the trio had refreshments at a tea kiosk in Victoria Park and went for a walk in the Kashmir Hills near Christchurch, New Zealand. Juliet dropped a pink pebble on the path to distract Pauline's mother, and when Honora bent over to pick it up, the girls attacked. They were carrying half a brick wrapped in newspaper. They placed it in a stocking and used the weapon to bludgeon Honora.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.